Holy Hakalugi, it's Friday. We're back here on Finance Friday, way past the lunch hour, but hey, we never really plan anything on time anyway. So Rob Morales, RCO Network here on a Friday, talking about money, talking about finances, talking about the wealth that we're about to build you. Maybe. I don't know. We're not financial planners or advisors, but we, talk about stuff like that. I have a special guest with us today. He is Mr. No Problem himself. If I may welcome, Joel del Rosario.
How you doing, man?
There he is. I tried practicing that name. There he is. Hold on. A little bit before we got on, but
Yeah.
Hello, sir. How are you, Mr. No Problem himself?
Yeah.
I like your shirt, buddy.
Thank you. It's part of my merch.
It's no problems, only solutions.
Yes, sir.
So we're here talking again about money. I do want to mention that RCO Network does have, before I forget, our event coming up July 21st. If you haven't signed up yet, tickets are on sale, and the reduced cost is $20 right now. So towards the end of the month, people can come in and see the interesting guests and things we got going on at $20 less than the ticket price.
Wow.
Early tickets, early bird stuff. So just go ahead and message me or put in the comment section that you want your discount code, and we'll send that off to you. But not to hesitate or take any longer. We're here to talk to Joel about different things in his life. And one thing that you've talked about, and we talked about before the show, was multi-level marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we'll... What is your opinion of multi-level marketing? Let's go there.
So I feel like it's a double-edged sword. It all depends on, where you are in your life. Yeah. Luckily for me, it was at a great time where I needed a lot of coaching, a lot of teaching on how to sell, on how to recruit, and how to train. So for me, it was a great experience. See,
I think right now we're in a moment in our economy, in our lives where, we want something different for ourselves.
Yeah.
All of us, you want to have our own business, see what other people have going on, see the stuff that we have going on here at RCO Network. And they either want to be part of it or have a piece of that, or at least want to have that kind of sense of freedom.
Yeah.
I think there's that sense of financial responsibility. Like, I want to make money. And then there's that, I want that freedom. I don't want a boss. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes MLMs are the solution. At least we're sold on it, right?
Yeah.
You came from, you said you were part of an MLM.
Yeah.
What was the name of it again?
World Ventures.
World Ventures. Anybody remember that?
Yeah, it was back in the day.
It wasn't back. It was a couple of years ago. It was pre-COVID.
It was pre-COVID.
And it's the same people. Like, if you remember a couple of years back on Facebook, Instagram, it was the same people. Like, wish you were here. They had that big sign, wish you were here stuff.
Yeah.
And part of it is like you go off to these different places, like exotic, like, I don't know, islands or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then everybody's taking photos. Hey, we are here.
Pretty much.
And you're like, and you're at your job. You're like, shit, I'm still at work.
On a Monday, and they're traveling the world. Yep.
Yeah, stuff like that. But that company's no longer here? Is that?
No, they went down, but someone else bought the products. And I think now it's called Dream Trips International. That was the name of the product. Was Dream Trips. They'll create experiences for super dirt rate prices and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so I think there is definitely a value behind it, and we're kind of exploring those values behind MLMs. Yeah. There's many opinions about how MLMs function, and you hit upon something that is very interesting to me regarding MLMs. And again, I think it's a quick solution for most people. I see the big Isogenics building over there on Gilbert and on the 202, and I think they have the green drink, right? No, they have the pink or the brown drink. They have the brown drink.
There's the brown drink. I'm not sure.
There's the green drink people. I don't remember who those are. Plexus is the pink drink people.
Okay.
And a lot of it is being sold on this exciting lifestyle where you can do sales and then do whatever you want, and be your own boss, be your own business. And you've had experience with that, but you're no longer in it, right?
No.
So do you want to share kind of those, at least the positive experiences you had?
Yeah, I think the positive experience for me was I came straight out of high school when I was in multi-level marketing. So I was, you would say, I just graduated. It's been a couple of months since I've graduated. My family was going through a hardship. I had to be the man of the house. And I honestly didn't have the money to sign up. And I promised my mom, she give me the money, I'm going to make it work. So getting into it at the time, it taught me a lot of things because I'm going to be college was really not an option for me, if that makes sense. So it gave me instilled a lot of things that I needed, like mindset training, learning how to control your emotions, learning how to sell, understanding social skills, right? Social cues, learning how to recruit, how to have infectious energy where people are like, wow, I want that, right? And just learn how to build an organization, train it, and continue to recruit.
So the positive thing, there's a lot of negatives that I have regarding MLMs, but then I really changed my mindset a couple of years ago because I started seeing the structure behind it. Yeah. I honestly, for me, I don't believe in MLMs. Okay. I believe that they do sometimes offer a product, but it's really built on the number of people you can bring on, more so than the product. And I was actually part of a brokerage that did that. Keller Williams does that kind of modeling, and then I went to Exit Realty at one point, where you tend to recruit people more than you really sell or serve anybody. Yeah, and that's the part I didn't like. That's the part I didn't connect with. But then I realized, like you had said, a lot of these MLMs give you an opportunity to try something different, to be in a place where you're kind of forced into selling and in a position where, like, if you're not comfortable with sales, that it gives you practice at least.
Yeah,
right?
It does. I feel like when you get into multi-level marketing, you find out who you are. Like, you really find out who you are. Yeah. Like, I'm not even going to lie. There was times that I would cry because I couldn't get to the next pay level. And I would wonder, like, why am I messing up? Yeah. And it's true that some companies definitely focus more on recruiting. And it kind of sucks when companies lean that way. When I was in World Ventures, it was a little bit different. It was all about the product, right? Of course, we're looking for individuals that want to work with us and grow this. But the biggest part was also selling the membership, right? And I think that's why there was a company called Vima a couple of years before World Ventures. I got in joining World Ventures. They tried to set me up, but I was too young to get in. They actually went down, and they went down because it was considered a pyramid scheme because they had more reps than they had customers. So it was more about recruiting than it was about the actual product. And I think that's what kind of divides the line between an actual pyramid scheme and understanding a company that has a multi-level marketing structure, but is making sure that they're providing good customer service and their service and product.
Yeah, and it's really hard to differentiate between what company's doing what. I mean, a company, and this is part of something in my process and my journey that I had to understand, is that you all have to be selfish. Yeah. Right. And a company works the same way. You know, you are working to build a business so that you can feed yourself, you can feed your family, take care of the things that you care about. You know, so in essence, you are being selfish. Yeah. And it's understanding that and understanding that other people are going to be the same way. Yeah. So it's getting past that. That part of the journey is kind of like, okay, so if you're going to be selfish and I need to be selfish because I need to take care of my family, you need to take care of family. At what point can we meet in the middle? You know, I think that's truly the big question. And have you discovered that? Have you kind of figured that part out, or is there a way to, like, I guess, break that down a little bit further?
Like, and just to reframe the question, just to make sure I'm understanding you right. So you have like a partner in your MLM, and you guys are like going to grow this together, but both of you guys are kind of finding a way of being selfish.
Well, I mean, any process that we do, anything I mean, there is some inherent need that we're trying to service within ourselves. Yeah, you know, whether it's making money, whether it's like pursuing a passion, it's inherently selfish.
Yeah, right. It is.
And so the line you cross is like, how can I be selfish and still serve other people?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I got you with this one. So, it is tricky because in life we have to be. This is something I say a lot when I'm coaching. Is you gotta be selfish before you can be selfless, right? You have to be able to get something to then give back, right? Yep. Like if you're religious, what's 10% of zero? Nothing. Yep. You have to be selfish. You got to go out and make the money, and then you can give back. So it is pretty hard because you got to find a way where, I'm focusing on me, but I also have to make sure it's a win-win situation, right? And I think that's really what it comes down to when you're looking for like an MLM to get started in. And mind you, I'm not in MLM anymore. I feel like I've grown out of it. I'm in a different stage. But when you are in that stage where you're looking to find out what MLM you're going for, find out how many people you know are going to want a service like that, and how well is the product or service that you're providing. I think that's the biggest thing, because once you put the customer first, the money comes after, because now you're servicing a problem that's in the community. Right? Yeah. Like when I was doing World Ventures, the problem was during that time, a lot of companies weren't doing different things to help people vacation. There wasn't an exclusive club. When you book a vacation, it didn't come with all these different excursions and all these different things that came included at one price for such a low price for someone who can't afford that. So there was a problem already there.
Yeah.
So me solving the problem, I'm already going to benefit monetarily.
Yeah, and because you do brand coaching, I do want to mention that we have Joel on today because he does business coaching too. You know, it's not about MLMs necessarily, but there is a process there as we grow, and part of that growth process for you was to start in that I guess that area of life, that MLM kind of thing where. They structure basically a business for you, but sometimes the inherent need of the company kind of surpasses, you know, the person and their growth.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're not there anymore.
No.
Right. And so, what was the decision factor that, hey, I need to move on from this and get into brand coaching now? Right?
What really took me to that? Okay, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. So I'm like 20, I think it was 22, 23.
Yeah.
My upline, which he's like my older brother. We're still super close. Mentor. Yeah. He's everything for me as a older figure. And we all sat down with like a group of like 40 of like the top reps within Miami-Dade County, which that's where I'm from. And
Florida.
Yeah, he's Florida.
Floridian.
Yep. So
not a Californian, so you can't get mad at him.
So we stirred up at like a Panera, and he literally sat down, and we thought, okay, we're just gonna get extra training, extra pumped to go sell some more next week. He comes in, he puts his head down. I'm like, oh, this one's gonna be a real emotional one. I'm gonna feel this one.
Oh boy,
I'm gonna sell 20 accounts next week.
Yeah.
And he looks up and he says, World Ventures is going under. And when he said that, it hit in such a way because, and I think it was my ignorance, but I was young. You know, I gained a lot of things from it, but yeah, there was some experience that maybe weren't the best, but that right there is what made it for me. It was like, wait a minute, I felt like my whole life crashed down because I put all my time into that. Like for me, I would have tattooed the name of that company, and I walked around until I was like 60 years old, giving the story of why I have this on, right? But it was like I felt like everything was taken away from me, like the opportunity of hitting the next pay level that I was ready to hit, that I wanted to hit, and taking this all the way to the top was like my chance was taken away from me. And then when I slowly realized, as other companies now wanted to recruit us, I realized, wait, I'm just a professional network marketer. If another company wants to hire me and give me a sign-in bonus, I'll just take my talents and go over there, which we end up doing. But then the problem that with MLMs is that you're trusting that company is going to do right and make it all the way to the top, meaning it's going to last the test of time. And not every company is an Amway, right? They're going to be there forever. Not every company is what is the other one? Herbalife, right?
Herbalife. Yeah, that's the green one.
Yeah, that's the green drink. Yeah, that's the green drink. So not all these companies are going to last that long time. So I realized I just needed a break because I felt like I was just hitting walls. And I was trying to start my own thing, and then what ended up happening was people that I was in like in a shared space, right? Like it was like it's called I can't think of the name right now, but it's a shared space
like WeWork or something.
WeWork, that was exactly the name of the company, and we were in a shared space, and I was always working in like the main areas, and I would hear these business owners have these issues, but at the time that I have nothing because I've lost everything, they're making 3 times more than I'm making, but because they didn't have the training of mindset training, and they're saying toxic positivity, but they don't have, you get what I mean? Like, you know, when people are like, oh, they're toxically positive. Well, I don't think it's a thing, but you know,
I've never heard that before.
Oh, so I've heard it before. It's a big thing against MLM
I learned
companies.
Something today.
Yeah. So people who like get burned from MLM companies, they always say that they teach you how to have toxic positivity. It makes no sense to me, but we're not going to go there. The point where I'm trying to get to is I saw that there was missing information because when you're in multi-level marketing and you go to all their trainings, all their big events that they tell you to go to, you learn so much from people that make so much more and know so much more. And then when you hear and you're constantly being coached, I think it's the same as going to a 4-year degree, right? And just business, no math, no reading needed, just straight business for 4 years. That's how I took it. And when I saw that and I was giving answers to these individuals and they would book like, yeah, let's hang out, give me some advice. I was like, no, I'm going to have to start charging for this.
Well, and that's the thing is like you can learn all this stuff from a book. You can read how to market. You can read, but you can't really, it really doesn't teach you how to read people or read situations or learn how to be street smart in a way. And because there is the learning process, but there's also the application of that. And most of my early education, or actually most of my formal, I should say, education, is in sociology and psychology.
Okay.
And so the application of that didn't make sense. You know, like I could see how things develop and I can see patterns, but when you're in front of somebody and they're yelling at you, because I did child welfare services.
Okay.
So I did child abuse investigations. And no matter what you read and understand the dynamics of how somebody got to a point they're at, does not change the fact that they're yelling at you and threatening you and say, "Hey, I'm gonna effing kill you if you put your hands on my son." And and you're like, "Oh, well, I've been given the authority to take custody of your son. Let me call law enforcement, and I'll be right back. Let me call the police. I need some backup on this." Yeah. But it doesn't teach you that, and a lot of the skills that you learn are interactions, are taking chances, also retreating and understanding how things operate outside of a textbook.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I think MLMs serve that. It puts you in that position to do that.
It does.
But do I agree with the business model? I mean, not so much. But but it created who you are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you really think about it, most like when we look at the structure of like a multi-level marketing company, a lot of regular sales companies work just the same. Regular sales company. You sell, you get good enough, you become a team lead, you have a couple of guys underneath you, you get a sliver of whatever they sell, you do good enough, you become an actual manager, you make a bigger piece of the pie of whatever your team sells. So I feel like multi-level marketing structure is so raw, and people are not used to seeing business look so raw. It's like dissecting a human being, right? You're opening up and you're seeing it just out in the open, and other businesses that are not multi-level marketing companies hide that so well. But if you've done sales before, solar sales, door-to-door sales, any car sales, it all works the same way. You sell great. You show a couple of guys how to do it. They start selling. They're like, you know what? You belong to be a team lead. They're gonna give you a sliver of the pie because they wouldn't have sold if you didn't give them that advice, if you didn't coach them or form them to be better salespeople.
So a controversial question, though.
Yeah.
Do you think MLMs target minorities? Ooh,
that is a good question. I don't generally think they do.
Yeah.
But what I do think is when me being someone who's a minority, when I see an opportunity that's way better than what I thought going to college would be, and I knew that was not the route for me.
Yeah.
It makes sense why they would it would make sense why someone who might not have opportunities, right, would decide to be like, hey, this can probably be my ticket out.
Well, think of it. Like I grew up in a small town.
Yeah.
Douglas, Arizona. What part of town? Or you grew up in Florida, but
Miami, Florida.
And so I'm guessing that's not a small town. Yeah. But I grew up in a small town where I came up, and Tucson was like a huge town to me. It was like a big city. It's like, oh my God, this is so big. It's really an oversized town. But I came across an Amway guy once, and I wasn't exposed to a lot of that growing up. Most of my exposure was like my grandma next door, burritos and beans, and driving like literally 2 minutes to the grocery store, coming back. Yeah. The whole town is only like a mile wide. Going to places really didn't take a whole lot of time. Most of it's small town shit. But when you get to a bigger city, Tucson's not that big, but when you get to a bigger town relative to where you grew up, and somebody comes at you and says, hey, you can make thousands of dollars a week. It shows you all these nice, like a portfolio, like a folder, all these like clipped arts. He's got a professional photo, and you see him in a business suit. You're like, oh my God, it's this easy? I can be like you, because that's who I want to be. I'm still wearing my shoes from high school, and 2 years into college, and I can be this if I do this. It becomes such an easy sale, and I think as a minority too. I mean, I didn't realize I was a minority until I actually came up to Tucson and started seeing people different other than me. Douglas is a small town. It's a bunch of Hispanics. I think there's probably 5 white people and 2 black people, and the rest is just Mexican. Yeah. So I didn't get any racism at all. Yeah. But when you come into an area like that, it's like, oh my God, how I can get this so easy? Yeah. It made it sound so easy, and I get the feeling, especially as I talk to other people who have been in MLMs, that vast majority of people that get sold on it are minorities, just because it plays into that sense of like, that's who I want to be one day. I want to be like that guy. Yeah.
I think that's kind of like lack of training when it comes to the person who's trying to recruit, because the biggest thing, it's not easy, it's simple. When I was in multi-level marketing, I would always say, and I say the same thing right now when I'm doing my job and I'm telling them these are the steps. Yeah. I tell them it's not hard, it's not easy, it's simple. Follow the step-by-step process, and if you do the work, you'll reap the reward. You know, I feel like if you grind, put your head down, and you get to work, and you look up later, by the time you look up, you're going to be in a whole different place. Now, yes, a lot of people who do recruit people always make it seem like it's easy, and it's not. So, but I wouldn't then say that they target minorities. It just so happens to get into people who feel like they have nothing. Right? Yeah. Like, if you think about it, if you feel you really have nothing and someone gives you an opportunity that you feel is the opportunity of a lifetime, are you not going to take it?
Well, it was definitely anything bigger than a small town.
Exactly.
Would be it, yeah.
Yeah, so that I think that's what it comes from, because everybody comes here for a reason, right? Like, my family, they're all Dominican, right? I'm pretty sure my family came here for that American dream. So when we're here and you see that opportunity of, I can have more, I can provide more for my family. My mom doesn't have to be driving this car. My little brother doesn't have to be wearing these clothes. Yeah. You know?
Well, that's the whole projection of the American culture, right? Yeah. And you grew up, I don't know how you said Dominican Republic?
Yeah, my family's Dominican.
When did you grow up there too?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I'm one of the first generation of Americans in my family.
Yeah, and I think you can kind of see, and I've gotten the idea that America sells that dream, right? Yeah. You know, they sell it more than they really live it, or than it's reality. You know, there's very few. There's a very small segment that ever attains that perfect car, perfect house, perfect wife, perfect whatever. And then they frame it in this like, this is not successful until you get to this point.
I get you, but I don't know. I don't think, in my mind, I don't think the reason why a lot of people are not making it is just because it's not possible. I feel that most of us have a lot of insecurities that we don't like to do. We don't like to get out of our comfort zone, and that's why there's only a certain percentage of people that actually do well in business. What is the percentage rate of a restaurant closing within the first 3 years? It's like 90%. Yeah. Reason why is a lot of people didn't learn discipline. Right? Yeah. A lot of people didn't learn work ethic. They just have a dream, but they have no skill. Like, you can have a dream, that's great, but what skill are you working on to make it happen? How are you strengthening your mind? What books are you reading? We always talk about, when we talk about fasting, right, of what we eat and not eating for a little bit, but when have you ever heard of like a mental fast? Watch what you listen to. Right? Yeah, a lot of people likes to drive and listen to the radio when they're like, we're going to find out if this man is cheating on his wife. Hey, Jeremy. Like, you get me? Like, you're listening to all this garbage and it's coming in your head and you're thinking about these things, all these negative things all day, and you're watching drama, reality TV shows, people fighting, right? I just think there's a lot to do with it, and if you don't do the work, you don't reap the reward.
And that's perfect. And that was the thought process, and that's kind of what I asked about. But you do brand coaching now. Yeah. As we're approaching the end of the show, it's been 25 minutes. Can you believe
wow. It doesn't seem that long.
No, absolutely not. You do brand coaching, right?
Yeah. So
Mr. No Problem himself.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little about that, and we'll wrap up.
So I do coaching. I go to different companies. I'll create a sales team for them, create everything that has to do with the sales team, teach them how to recruit sales individuals, how to make incentives enticing to want salespeople to want to work for them, create the whole pitch. I also go in there and look at individuals' business and see the loopholes, right? People don't realize how many loopholes they have in their business until they start writing everything down and they put it up and it looks like Swiss cheese. And then we try to fill in those gaps and help them through whatever the next step in their business is.
And I definitely think that is room for everybody. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs some third party. I wouldn't suggest family, because family has an opinion. Yeah. You know? But having somebody outside of your immediate circle with that kind of dissenting opinion that challenges you, I definitely think that's a person that you need in your life, especially as you're starting business. Yeah. And the other part is picking the right person. Yeah, because they can definitely steer you in the wrong direction. I've picked a couple partners that in the past that, but I learned. And that's the whole idea of today's show is that life and business is a learning process. Yes. So follow Mr. No Problem himself on Instagram. So if you go to, I don't even have it up there, right there. Mr. No Problem on Instagram. Find and follow Joel. He's also on Facebook, but not as prominent.
They hacked me, so I had to start a new one.
He got hacked. We don't like the hacking. So Joel del Rosario, and then the brand name is Mr. No Problem.
Well, yeah. So I go by Mr. No Problem. Our company where we do these we're developing individuals and helping them get to their next goal. It's called No Problem Management. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
So follow Joel on Instagram. And then again, July 21st is our next business networking event. I will put the link in the description at some point. I forgot to put it in before the show. It is what it is. But we're here every Friday talking to business owners about the stuff they got going on. Joel, thank you, sir, for joining us today. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the insight.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, that's what we do, man. So until next week, Finance Friday, Rob Morales, RCO Network. We'll catch you guys next week.